Yet the screams as a result of the pangs of hunger from the women and the children of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could be heard over 1 mile's distance in Makkah. Every persecution possible they tried. Eventually, they come to Abu Talib and they tell him that if you don't stop your nephew now, we are no longer going to even accept your protection of him. We are na'uzubillah going to kill him. So Abu Talib calls Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he entreats him and begs him that, oh my beloved nephew, stop what you are doing. Look at the reply that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives him. He says, oh my uncle, ma ana bi'aqdar min an ada' ma bu'ithtu bihi min an yush'ila ahadukum min hadhihi ash-shamsi shu'lata nar. The weight and the concern and the fikr for the hidayat of every human being to come on the surface of the earth till Qiyamah had been placed on the shoulders of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Each person's Jannat, each person's Akhirat, each person's being saved from Jahannam, that concern and that worry had been placed on his shoulders. To invite one person, to introduce one person to Allah. So he says to his uncle, it is easier for me to hold a flame of fire from the sun in my hand. That I am prepared to do. But to stop calling these people to Allah and to stop making the effort of hidayat upon them, that I am not prepared to do. I am prepared to hold a flame of fire from the sun in my hand. That will be easier than stopping this mission which Allah has entrusted me with. Abu Talib, when he hears this reply, فَاسْدَعْ بِأَمْرِكَ لَمْ تُصِبْكَ صَبَابَةٌ وَلَقَدْ صَدَقْتَ وَكُنْتَ قَبْلُ أَمِينًا وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ بِأَنَّ دِينَ مُحَمَّدٍ مِنْ خَيْرِ أَدْيَانِ الْبَرِيَّةِ دِينًا لَوْلَا الْمَلَامَةُ أَوْ حَدَارَ مَسَبَّةٍ لَوَجَدْتَنِي سَمِحًا بِذَاكَ مُبِينًا. He says, continue with what you are doing. When he sees the determination, he says, continue with what you are doing, no harm will come to you. You are truthful and you have always been trustworthy. And then Abu Talib says, I know, وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ, I know that the deen of Muhammad is the best of every religion. If it were not for the fear of the mockery of the taunts of Quraysh, that Abu Talib gave in, and Abu Talib was a coward, and he accepted the message of his nephew, I would have openly recited your kalima. Yet even he was deprived of Iman. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam enters that room, which is the last scene of the life of Abu Talib, and he sees that there is no gap even near his uncle, he turns to the kuffar of Makkah, to the leaders of Quraysh that are present, and he says to them, Kalimatun wahida, tudinu bihal Arab, wa tu'ti lakumul ajamul jizya. I am inviting you to one kalima, one affirmation, one statement. The power and the taqat which is kept in this kalima is such that if you will recite it, the entire Arab world will be subjugated to you. And the non-Arab world will pay you taxes on the recitation of one kalima, of one statement. Allah will make you the masters of the whole world. There is no question of mubalagha. There is no question of exaggeration in the speech of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What stood 1400 years ago stands today until Qiyamah it will stand. He said to them, one kalima, recite it. And Allah will make you the masters of the whole world. Such taqat, such power Allah has kept in this kalima. This is no ordinary Nabi of Allah speaking. On no other Nabi of Allah did Allah Ta'ala take qasam in the Quran. In two places in the Quran, Allah took qasam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. La'amruk innahum lafi sakratihim ya'mahun. By the qasam of the life of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Waqilihi ya Rabbi. By the qasam of the qawl and the speech of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. On no other Nabi did Allah Ta'ala take qasam on his risalat. Yasin wal Qur'anil Hakim innaka laminal mursaleen. By the qasam of the Qur'an Hakim, you Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam are the Rasul of Allah. On no other Nabi did Allah Ta'ala take qasam of his land where he lived. Wat-teen, waz-zaytoon, wa-turi sinin, wa hadha al-balad al-amin. La uqsimu bihadha al-balad, wa anta hillum bihadha al-balad. When Allah addresses him, Allah Ta'ala takes qasam on his life, on his speech, on his land. Allah Ta'ala takes qasam on his akhlaq and his character. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah Ta'ala takes qasam on everything that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَىٰ مَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَىٰ وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. By the qasam of the stars and its movements, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not go astray. He did not make any mistake. Whatever he said was not of his own desires. It is wahi from Allah. Qasam upon qasam. Testimony upon testimony. Such a Nabi of Allah, that when Allah Ta'ala addresses him, Allama Suyuti rahmatullah alayhi has mentioned, Allah addresses Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam approximately 227 times in the Quran. Yet in the entire Quran you will not find Ya Muhammad. He was never addressed directly by his name. Allah used laqab, title. Why the ihtiram and the honor is greater when a title is used. Other Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, they were addressed by their names. Ya Adam uskun anta wa zawjuka al-jannah. Wa qila ya Nuh uhbit bisalamin minna. Wa nadaynahu ya Ibrahim. Wa ma tilka biyaminika ya Musa. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifa. Ya Zakariya, inna nubashiruka bi ghulam. Ya Yahya, khudh al-kitaba biquwwah. Ya Isa ibn Maryam, anta qulta lin-nas. Other Anbiya were addressed by their names. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam 227 times, yet never once by his name. Ya ayyuhan Nabi, Ya ayyuhal Rasul, Ya ayyuhal Muddathir, Ya ayyuhal Muzzammil. Allah used title. Once some Bedouins from outside Medina Munawwara came into Medina. Bedouins were villages, nomadic background, no culture. They came and stood outside his house and shouted, Ya Muhammad. Immediately Jibreel is sent, La taj'alu du'a ar-rasuli bainakum kadu'ai ba'dikum ba'da. When I do not address my Nabi by his name, how can you address him by his name? Do not address the Rasul like you address one another. Such perfection. The month of Rabiul Awwal, we remember the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One is when insan will praise Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Insan's praise is in its place. Here Allah is praising His Rasul. Allama Suyuti rahmatullahi alayhi mentions the riwayat on the authority of Abu Nu'aym from Hilya, that when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a little baby in the lap of his mother Amina, nazalat sahabatun, a cloud descended, faghashiyathu wa ghayyabathu, and this cloud covered the body of this child. Then it lifted up, and a voice called out from the unseen, Tufu bihi mashariq al-ardi wa magharibaha liya'rifu bismihi wa na'tihi wa suratihi. Take this child to the east and to the west. Let the entire creation come to know the name of my Nabi. Let them come to know his attributes. Let them come to know his status. Let them come to know his nobility. وَآتُوهُ خُلُقَ آدَمْ وَمَعْرِفَةَ شِيث وَشُجَاعَةَ نُوح وَخُلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيم واستسلام إسماعيل وفصاحة صالح وحكمة لوط ورضا إسحاق وبشرى يعقوب والشدة موسى وجهاد يوشع وحب دانيال ووقار يونس وطاعة إلياس والصبر أيوب ولحن داود وعصمة يحيى وزهد عيسى واغمسوه في أخلاق النبيين. Grant him the akhlaq of Adam alayhi salam, the ma'rifat and recognition of Shis alayhi salam, the bravery of Nuh alayhi salam, the sacrifices of Ismail alayhi salam, the friendship of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the eloquence of Salih alayhi salam, the wisdom of Lut alayhi salam, the contentment of Ishaq alayhi salam, the glad tidings of Yaqub alayhi salam, the strength of Musa alayhi salam, the jihad of Yusha alayhi salam, the love of Daniel alayhi salam, the reverence of Yunus alayhi salam.